My name is Kandace Ledergerber. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in Florida, and I specialize in EMDR therapy, helping trauma survivors and sexual abuse survivors heal. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 very powerful reasons why EMDR therapy should not be self-administered. Because honestly, that is one of the most Googled questions. And I can definitely understand why people might rather do EMDR by themselves, because it's hard to be vulnerable. It is hard to be vulnerable with a stranger, and it's hard to pull back the layers of pain and traumatic memories on your own, let alone with another person. So I can definitely understand why people Google this, why this is something that people want to know if they can do on their own, because it can be really scary to reach out to a provider and to trust them with your story. So the first thing that I want to start with is reason number 1, and that is that in EMDR therapy, we set a foundation, right? So we are working really hard to set foundational skills and resources so that way when triggering material comes up, you feel prepared to handle it. And so the first reason I want us to talk about is the fact that if you're doing EMDR therapy on your own, you may bring up traumatic or triggering material, and you might not have the support there that you need. And you deserve to be supported. You deserve to have someone beside you that has been trained specifically in this modality to help you heal. You deserve to be in a setting where you feel like you have the ground underneath your feet and you have support sitting right next to you to help you when that triggering stuff comes up. The second reason I want us to talk about is the fact that there is really specific training that clinicians pay good money to go to understand the ins and outs of EMDR therapy. This can include how long to have a set of eye movements. It can include how to help a client regulate themselves when dysregulating stuff pops up, right? And it can include even how to close a session when you haven't had really a complete EMDR session happen. And so every person is definitely an individual, right? Every person responds to EMDR therapy a little differently. Maybe one exercise doesn't work for one person that works for another, and that's okay. And the clinician is trained in these different approaches to be able to meet your needs. And if you're doing it on your own, you might not have all that information present. So the third reason that I want us to talk about is the fact that, we do a lot of resourcing before just jumping into processing. So I find that sometimes we are really enmeshed into our own lives, right? We can be just kind of in our own world, and especially when traumatic things have happened, we can be living in and out of trauma stuff and daily life, really regularly. And so with that, you might not be able to see how the trauma has really impacted us, and really might not be able to see what resources we need to deal with it. It might not really naturally occur to us, like, oh, hey, I do need, somebody that supports me, or that I feel supported in a relationship, or wow, I never really thought that I don't have just a place that I can sit in and be calm and to have a safe space around the chaos, away from the chaos. So an EMDR therapist can ask you questions and talk about your history and recognize patterns that maybe from on the inside it's hard to recognize because you're living it. That's okay. So when the therapist is able to recognize those things, they're also able to recognize maybe some resources that can help. Coping skills, some, guided meditation, some different EMDR resources that could help you feel a little bit more on that solid ground. And one important note that I want to make really clear, is that as an EMDR therapist, I like to think of myself as a GPS, and I use this analogy a lot with clients. I am just a GPS. That's it. You're in the driver's seat. You can decide if we pull off the road, if we need to pump the brakes, if we make a right turn or a left turn, or if we need a rest for the day. That is a big piece, because trauma takes so much, and it takes away our feeling of control. And so it's so important for you to know that you are the one in the driver's seat for all this. I am a guide. I can offer suggestions, I can offer insights or observations, but I am not going to be the one pulling the wheel. You are the one in charge of this. You are the one in control. And I think that kind of loops back around to the first part of this video. As people oftentimes don't feel comfortable at first reaching out to a therapist, and it takes a lot to reach out and to be brave in that. But it's scary, and I want to normalize that a little bit, that it is scary, and you should be able to be the one who is in the driver's seat in this relationship. And if you feel like there's something missing, or if trust needs to still be built in the therapy relationship that you're in, I would highly encourage you, whether it's me or another therapist, to talk to the therapist about that, because therapy, the very foundation of therapy is trust. And if you feel like there needs to be more trust built there before you're comfortable opening up more with traumatic stuff, that's okay. That's allowed. You're allowed. So, I hope this has been a helpful video, kind of describing some of the reasons that EMDR therapy should not be self-administered. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. You can email me at info@soul-mission.org. And if you're looking for an EMDR therapist, whether it's in Tampa or anywhere virtually in Florida, I highly encourage you to book a free consultation. We'll get 15 minutes to kind of dive in and discuss, what you're wanting out of therapy, if we click as a therapy-client relationship, and also like what EMDR therapy is and how I work. So I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you have a lovely day.